Welcome to the Fishbowl with everybody. My name is Chief here, and joining me today is Jalen. We're doing the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns softball Sun Belt Conference tournament here. For the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns, they're gonna try to, make the NCAA tournament. They're gonna have to win the tournament, looking like Jalen. So let's dig down deep into it. Awards got announced today. Four Raging Cajuns got on to the second team All Sun Belt list. Emily Smith, Sun Belt Conference Freshman of the Year. She was the 10th Raging Cajun freshman to win this award. And they've been a staple in the NCAA tournament. The Cajuns have been. The last time they missed it, which everybody missed it, was 2020. Um, so
You good one, good one.
yeah, so what you think? Like, how you feel about this team winning the tournament? I feel like like I mentioned last week, they're one of the four teams that have not got swept at all this year. They have made it through there, and I think that is something that you could look at them four teams, which also was like UOM, Texas State was one of them, Coastal and Louisiana. So, what you thinking, Jalen? How you think this is going to go out for the Cajuns this year?
I feel great heading into the Sun Belt Conference tournament, Chief, for the Raging Cajun women's softball team. I think the end of the season, the regular season, I should say, off strong. They ended up winning the series against Texas State, but even better than that, we talked about them sweeping Southern Miss, and that's exactly what they did. I mean, all the games were close, but guess what? The Cajuns were able to get the win, and not only just the win, like I said, winning three straight, finishing the season with four wins in a row. That's adding some momentum going into the tournament, and they're going against the App State team that's not too far down the line when it comes to Sun Belt standings, but still a team that they should be able to beat in that first game. So, and they don't play until what until Thursday. So, early game, I think Cajuns they're in a great spot, and they're gonna I think they're gonna win this first game against App State and keep going with the tournament.
All right, so let's go pull up the bracket so we can show everybody what we're talking about here. Here is the Sun Belt Conference bracket here. Let's see. Are you seeing it right now, Jalen? Let's see. Hold on, I'm about to hit share. There you go. This is what we're looking at here.
Yep, there we go.
This is exactly what. So this game right here that I'm circling around right here is the bracket for the Cajuns and their path here to the Sun Belt Championship finals. Here, if they win, they'll play a game seven at 4 o'clock. It doesn't give a time. It gives a time, but don't give a date too much. This is a Thursday game right here, Louisiana App State here. So I'm assuming this is gonna be a Friday game because the way they have it here. Oh yeah, look there's a date. Never mind. I
There
stand
you go.
corrected. There you go. Yep. You got to go up, Chief. What you doing?
I mean, you did say Friday game, so
Yeah. Hey, I was like halfway correct. Good analogy there to be able to figure it all out. But anyway, then you got the championship game on Saturday. So if you lose, you're done. So the Cajuns have to win three games. And I love this. ESPN2, you're gonna get good coverage right here. ESPN2. So the Sun Belt will get some good coverage there at 1:30. It's at Troy, obviously. That's their the host thing here. So Marshall right there at 2 seed. They might be able to get there. Texas State being a 1 seed. UOM dropping to a 4 seed was kind of an interesting one because man, like they were at
they
the
were
top of the
leading.
conference. They were leading the conference entering Friday, and now they're sitting their way at 4. Which I mean, would it make a difference? You might not see them in the championship there. The Cajuns beat Texas State. They beat them 2 out of 3, so they could definitely beat any team in this tournament, and they beat them on the road. That's the most important thing about that.
Yep.
And you know what? I here's what I think is going to happen. I think the Cajuns are going to win this conference tournament because I think that they have enough talent. I've said this since the beginning of the year. They'd have enough talent to make it to a regional, and I still feel that way about this team here. I still feel that they have enough talent to make it to a regional and just prove it all wrong here. Hey, the freshmen and the younger talent on the team are gelling at the right time. Mallory Wheeler just threw a no hitter. The first time this season in Sunbelt that anybody's ever been able to do that this season. So that is something that it's going to progress and get better as we go on through the year here. So if the Cajuns can just, yeah, it's easier said than done, winning 3 games, right? But they got to go through App State. They'll either play Marshall, Coastal, or Southern Miss. Through the three, out of this game 4, winner of game 4 here, game 7 here, right here, and they'll go on to that point there. They struggled earlier in the conference series because I think they were just still trying to figure out their identity and stuff. Some, like I said about baseball and softball, it can take a while. It can take the last series to figure out what's going on there. But the crazy thing is, it don't matter if we win the regular season. It's all about the conference tournament here for these mid-major. Well, they call them mid-majors, but like G5 or like Sun Belt Conference USA and all the other ones. It's whoever wins the conference tournament here that gets the prize. Making the NCAA tournament. So I think here, I think Cajuns beat App State. I think they'll. I think they'll. I think they'll win these next 3 games. To be honest with you, I really like what I've seen with the Cajuns here because let's face the facts here. They've won the last 3 series, entering um entering that tournament. I mean, you look at it, they've won the last 3 series entering that tournament. So it's really hard to say that this is not something that you'll see here go on there. So if you look at it here, they'll probably win these next 3 series and that'll be it there. Um just getting us back on camera here, but I really believe that this softball team can win this tournament. What you think, Jalen?
Yeah, absolutely, Chief. I think they can definitely win the tournament. Momentum, and then I think we talk about it all the time. The momentum is on their side. They have the win streak going. Like you said, they won the last 3 series against Sun Belt competitors. Some of these same teams in this tournament. So I think overall, it's looking great for the Cajuns. And like you said, they don't have to win that many games because they have a high seed. I mean, if you kind of look at it, I would think Texas State is a team to beat since they're the number 1 seed. But hey, over the years, the number 1 seed has got bounced in the first game. So you just never know with that. But the Cajuns right there, they have a chance to win. And honestly, just because I think going into the season, it wasn't the biggest high expectations because it's a new coach, a lot of players transferred, new players coming in, they're a young team. But this young team right here got a chance to make it to the big dance by winning the Sun Belt tournament. I think that's exactly what they're going to do and ride away in NCAA tournament. So it's gonna be fun to see. I think they're going to make it also.
Now, I don't think they're going to make it out of regionals. I'm going to say that. I'm going to be honest with everybody here. I think there's enough to get there. I just don't think there's enough to get them out of the tournament, which they lost a lot this year. Like it was hard enough for them to get to the tournament, but they're in a really good spot, I think, to make it there. They're not gonna make it on that large because their RPI is at 60 right now. Non-conference RPI is 64. You're dealing with a lot. The strength of schedule is 38, non-conference strength of schedule is 19. But looking 8-2 in their last 10 games, they're definitely riding a hot wave. They were definitely have had a losing record and if you look at their road record, it's 6-15. They're 18-8 at home, but they're 14-10 in conference play. So you're probably like, okay, why would you pick them to win on a road in a conference tournament? And it's because of this year. If you look at their conference, um, they lost the series of Marshall. Okay, that's what broke their series winning streak here, and then they lost to Coast on the road as well. But a lot of these losses have happened in um up until they lost to James Madison at home, like the series. But they were able to sweep South Alabama. And they, like I said, they beat Texas State on the road and Southern Miss beat them at home. And a lot of these teams are similar RPIs to each other here. And they didn't lose to Troy by a lot. They only lost by 1 point each of those games. They lost a lot of close games this year. And they now have maybe figured it out. Like ULM was leading. And now they're at a 4 seed here, so they're kind of slipping a little bit. ULM. I mean, they definitely dropped that series to Texas State, which was it there. But look, 2 out of 3. They lost to Marshall. I don't think this is not the same Cajun team that they played whenever. They were coming off that loss to LSU because they lost 5-6 that Friday game against Marshall on March 14th. So looking at that there, and App State being a 126, this is the first time they play App State this season here. And they just got done sweeping the 118 RPI team and they beat a RPI 44. I'm feeling very good about that game against App State. I got Cajuns beating App State here, like I mentioned earlier, but um whoever they play, I think even if they match up again against Marshall, I feel really good about them winning that game against Marshall here for sure because I feel like that's a very good omen for them here. I think they're peaking at the right time, and that's what. And we got kind of hate for it last year. Remember, the Cajuns baseball team was real hot, and we said we think they're peaking too early, and they were peaking too early. They couldn't carry it to the rest of the season, which is nothing wrong with it. You enjoy the hot wave as long as you can get it to go, but they might be peaking too early. And people get upset about that kind of stuff, but it's real. You gotta say the truth, and that's what we think. And that's what the fishbowl is all about. But um I think I think they're peaking at the right time. Now, is their peak gonna be high enough to get through the regional? I don't think so. Because I just don't think they have the talent to get to the super regional this year. I think they're a very good softball team. Okay. I make the NCAA tournament, you're a good softball team. That's all it is. You're a good softball team. But can you get to the supers afterward? I'm gonna be rooting for them. I hope they get to the supers, but that would be I think they will end in the regionals. Their season will end the regionals, but that is a massive accomplishment for just what it is. Making the regionals is a massive accomplishment anyway. Not everybody makes it to the regionals, so but yeah, I think that's a good way to sell it there, and I think that's a great first season for Allison Habits, and I think she'll be able to build what kind of team she wants entering year two under her at the helm. What you think, Jalen?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Chief, because the goal, I mean, every team's goal is to make it to the big dance and win. That's the goal for everybody. But like we said, like we've been talking about, and we've been talking since the beginning of the season, to come in with a new coach. I know Allison Happus has, championship experience, but she's coming into like a newer Cajuns program than it was when she played, obviously. So coming in, being a new coach, coming in with players, a lot of great players transfer out of the program. She's bringing her own players in that want to play for the Cajuns, and the fact that they have a chance to even make it to the NCAA tournament, that's more than you can ask for in year one, and that's only going to build going on, like you said, a year two, year three, and going forward until the Cajuns really be back to that way of nothing but success.
All right, let's switch gears here and talk about Louisiana Raging Cajun baseball. They're going on the road to take on Southern Miss this weekend here. We know the Cajuns did very well, sweeping Georgia State this past week, three, and then them beating Georgia Southern. They've been like we've been talking about hot waves. They've been riding a hot wave too. They're starting to close the gap in that Sun Belt Conference. The last series they lost was UOM, which is kind of funny because they won their last three series too. So baseball and softball are on the same wavelength, and I think the Cajuns are peaking at the right time. That's a very good thing to see here. And Southern Miss, this is their biggest challenge of the season, so far. I believe here. I think this might be right up there with that Troy series, but the young guns have showed up lately, and they're starting to mature. They're really maturing right before our eyes right here. So we rode at Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Man, if the Cajuns sweep, I'm gonna show y'all something here. Let me pull up the standings here, and you're gonna be able to look at this and be like, okay, what's going on here? So let's share the screen here. So you got it, Jalen?
Oh wait, I'm trying to see. Oh, there we go. It's up. There
Okay.
we go.
All right. So look at this here. If the Cajuns sweep Southern Miss, 18-6, right? Cajun right there at 15-9. If they sweep, they're tied in conference, and Cajuns are number two right now. And that would mean they're only two games back of Coastal with one more series left to go. So the Cajuns could mathematically be theoretically still alive for a conference championship game. But let's go look at Coastal's schedule to see who is Coastal playing, this weekend so everybody can get in, UOM and at Old Dominion. So not the best matchup for the Cajun. I mean, for the Cajuns to hope to take the seed from them there. But look, you have Louisiana sitting right there, 15-9. If they were to get a sweep over Southern Miss, which is I don't think that's going to happen in this series here. I'll be happy if the Cajuns win 2 out of 3 here. I think they could very very well lose this series here. I think Southern Miss is a little bit better right now. Um, just in regards to what they're playing and being on the road here. But I like hot streaks. I think baseball is one of those sports that it doesn't matter how much talent you have, if a team's hot, that you can technically pick them over it. But I think Cajuns take 2 out of 3 in Hattiesburg, believe it or not. As crazy as that sounds, and I know that like what like I like what I'm seeing out of the Cajuns here lately because they feel like it's hard to beat a team that's hot, and they've been winning a lot lately. Southern Miss probably like, oh well, we won 9 games in a row. We're on a winning streak. Like you can't. Here's the thing. Whenever in baseball, whenever you start getting into these nine, like you double digit winning series, I think Cajuns take 2 out of 3. Whenever you start getting these like long double winning streak here, you're gonna drop more games because it's just hard to keep it at that top echelon level, especially in baseball. Baseball is probably the hardest sport to keep that up there here. Now, granted, they've like you could lose 9 games like App State did down there in a row and like basically torpedo your chances of winning the Sun Belt there. But I rather take the team that has a little bit less winning thing here, and that's the winning streak here at 3. Like Coastal, they're at 7, and I think that bubble is gonna burst at some point too. Win 9, win 7 here, so Coastal could very well lose a series coming up pretty soon here. I don't think they'll lose a series, but I think they're going to lose 1 or 2 more games here in conference here. And if the Cajuns play their cards right and if they're able to sweep Southern Miss, which I don't think they're going to do this weekend, and get 2 out of 3, you're still going to be in a good play. Like you'll be 17-10 in conference, and with Southern Miss, if they would lose 2, they'll be 19-8 entering it there, which would eliminate them. But if the Cajuns drop 1, they're going to be eliminated because they'll be 6 games back. So they have to sweep, and I feel like they really do feel like their backs are against the wall, and I think that's why the Cajuns are playing so good right now. It's hard to beat a team that feel like they got their back against the wall. What you think, Jalen?
Yes, I think and we just talked about it with the softball team. I think the men's baseball team is playing great too. I mean, yes, they have probably the biggest, and I mean, I wouldn't say the biggest games of the year, but I'll say the most implications, like you talked about earlier, Chief, because the Cajuns sweep Southern Miss, like you said, they can go all the way to 2. Now, do I see them sweeping Southern Miss? No, I do not. But at the same time, it is possible. I do think I agree with you too. I think they will go to Hattiesburg and take 2 of 3. I will say that. If I was, but like you pointed out, Chief, I mean, when it comes to Southern Miss and Coastal, if I was them, I wouldn't want to like enter the Sun Belt tournament with a 10 game win streak, 11 game win streak, because I mean you're bound to lose a game, and I think the pressure is on your team to win and keep that win streak going. I think the pressure can get to a lot of teams, but hey, that's Coastal, that's Southern Miss. I'm just worried about the Cajuns, but I'm just saying if I was them. But as far as the Cajuns, oh yeah, they're in a great position right now. They're building a little winning streak on themselves. And I think, yeah, I think taking 2 or 3 at Hattiesburg, even if losing 1, I think winning the series would absolutely give them momentum heading into that last at home series against Arkansas State and then the Sun Belt tournament.
Yeah, the Sun Belt tournament here, if it ended today, you see you got the 4 seed and the 5 seed, 1 seed versus this is double elimination. Cajuns are getting into they're more than likely going to finish into the double elimination. Think you're 15 there because they're 3 games ahead of Texas State, 3 games ahead of Old Dominion, 4 games ahead of Georgia Southern. So, and it's the top 6 seeds here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it would have to be an utter disaster. If they get at least 1 out of the Southern Miss series, I still think it'd be very good for them regardless here. I just think it's gonna be one of those things here, and it's just gonna be the way it is here whenever we get right down to it. So I think that's what's gonna happen here. I feel like it's gonna be one of those things, and we're just gonna have to see what's gonna happen with all that there. But um, I think it's gonna be worth noting, and what we need to look at here is the Cajuns have the 12th highest strength of schedule in a non-conference when they play non-conference. So I think that's really paying off for them right now. The records don't always tell you the whole story, but they do they are what they say you are. That's what your record is. You got to win the games here, but uh, right now playing a tough schedule and then you get put up in that situation. Hey, it's looking pretty good if you're a Cajun fan here where Southern Miss, they've also played a very tough schedule. They're like non-conference 22 and they're at 77. They're going to get in on the at large. I've even seen D1 put them as a 2 seed. I forgot what regional it was, but like Troy, Coastal, and Southern Miss were the three teams pegged to make the tournament there. But I think that is something we will look at here. But I got Cajuns taking 2 or 3. What you think, Jalen, against Southern Miss? Jalen, I got them taking 2 out of 3 against Southern Miss. Who you think taking in that game?
Oh, definitely, 100% got them taking 2 or 3 against Southern Miss. Winning the series it would be huge, and I think, and not saying Southern Miss is they're on a hot streak and they're just going to lose. No, I don't think that. I think all 3 games are going to be close at the end of the day. But I think the Cajuns, just with everything that's going on, how the way they're playing at the end of the season, I think they'll take 2 or 3.
All right. So let's talk about the spring game. Uh, I was there, and a lot of people talked about it and stuff, but there's one thing that really caught my eye, and I think it needs to be addressed here. Let's talk about the quick release of Walker Howard. Okay, so I was there, and I noticed that comparing the quarterbacks of Ben Wooldridge and because I know Wooldridge is kind of like this the standard that we had for the last couple of years. And because it's always fair to compare previous starter to a starter and see how well they do something here. Howard's ball was he had a quicker release and he was pretty accurate on a lot of his throws here, which I think even if I thought the interior offensive line was a little bit weak in the spring game, but look, that could be one or two things here. I thought the tackles played very well for the offensive line. Defensive line, there were times they got pushed back, but I felt really good on the edge of defensive ends were very good at, containing and making good tackling, secondary played well, safety played very well. Sampson, I think, is going to be the guy they're going to look at number one. If I'm doing like my hot route or whatever, Sampson, or even going to the tight ends there, the tight ends did get targeted a good bit. Uh, Terrence Carter not going to be there this year. He transferred out. I think this team's going to do very well here this year. Uh, I liked how Walker Howard played. I think he's going to be able to add a dimension to the offense here. I wasn't too impressed with the um Lunch looked a little like he's kind of stocky. He can run and stuff like that, but he's coming off shoulder injury, so maybe I'm being a little too harsh on him. But he looked kind of like Howard definitely separated himself from everybody else, I think, as far as like offense goes and stuff. So that is something that we'll look to see to kind of like critique it here. But at the end of the day, it is a spring game, and I'm gonna tell this to everybody that listens here. Don't listen to all the mumbo jumbo like we're gonna have a good team this year because you honestly, to God, you're not gonna say that you have a good team because if, like I said this before, I said it last week before we even played the spring game. If your offense is doing great and they're scoring a bunch of points, one or two things is going on. You either got a really great offense or your defense is flat out sucks and they're trash. Now, thankfully, they look like they both played very well in that game there. I mean both teams, it was a close game in the spring game. I enjoyed what the game was. I'm excited to be in Our Lady of Lourdes Stadium. It's gonna be fun for the first game to be out there and stuff. So I think that the Cajuns are going to be looking very good. I think they're going to have a good season. 8, 9 win season here. Looks like it's coming up there to be in that regard there. So I think it's gonna be fun. What do you think, Jalen?
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun too, and I'm very interested to see who wins the starting quarterback job. I mean, I would love to see that Walker Howard to Sheldon Sampson red zone touchdown connection like he did in the spring game. I just think that they're building a connection as the quarterback wide receiver duo for this team. And the defense, like you were saying, they're probably playing better than they thought they were towards the end of last year, especially with a lot of people leaving and graduating. So it's there's depth on this team. You still got Bill Davis right there running back, so no worry, folks. He's still doing his thing. So I think overall, it's gonna be a great season. To say that they're trying to get to another Sun Belt championship game, they definitely have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, Sampson and Walker Howard both were at LSU. Uh, so if you're trying to wonder, like Howard is a year ahead of Sampson in regards to that there. So, Ole Miss was one of them and LSU was the other one there. Howard he only played at LSU, I think, for that one season on Jalen.
Then he
I think
yes, and then went to
Ole Miss for a year.
Ole Miss.
I think it was like I'm trying to think about what year it was because I'm trying to because him and Sampson look like they already have good chemistry. I think that's something to really see here. Let's see. I'm gonna see if they lined up anywhere. I think Howard went to LSU in 2022. Let's see. I'm gonna pull
Yeah,
up the
22, and
roster.
then enrolled in Ole Miss in 2023.
And 24? He had to spend somewhere in 24. Let's see. I'll find out. Let's see. Because I think if you look at all these teams here, let's see. I wonder if it oh, I hate the way LSU does their lineup. I forgot about this.
Yeah,
Oh, because they have it like in a stack. I wonder if it's like I wonder if I could do it by position. Will you let me roster what's that? No, that's just let's do it like okay, you could do it that way too. Sweet. Let's do that, yeah, by position. No, they don't have it by position. That sucks. Jack Besh, Mason Taylor. I'm trying to see where he would. Oh, they do have it by position. So Jane Daniels, Walker Howard was a redshirt freshman. So he redshirted at LSU. I think he was there in 21, 22. He's a junior now. So he'd be, let's see. Oh, because I think Sampson, he wouldn't have been there. Let's try 23 and see if he's still on the team. He might have been there in 23. I'm trying to remember. I'm just kind of like looking around here. So, what do you think, Jalen, about their chemistry? Like, did it look like it was natural to you?
I think it definitely did look natural, and I think that with them both coming in as transfers, I think especially Sampson like being a top wide receiver in the country, and then Walker Howard being the top dual threat quarterback. I think it was during his class. I think them both coming in to the Cajuns adds adds something different. The Cajuns are getting like big time players that are coming from other schools. Walker Howard being from the area going to STM. I think the connection is great so far. And I know it's only one game. Like you said, just a spring game. That doesn't necessarily mean your team's going to be great. But I think they're building
Yeah,
building something right there.
they didn't play together. They
Oh,
did
they
not
didn't
play
play together.
together.
Okay.
They missed it by a year.
By a year.
Uh,
Okay. See, so they're building
Sampson,
connections
yeah,
that
Sampson
weren't even
made it in
there.
23 on LSU's roster, and he stayed there he was there last year in 24. So yeah, that's how it went there. He stayed 2 seasons over there. I got the two mixed up. That's what happened. Because I was like, I think but yeah, Walker. I went to Ole Miss for 2 years. That's how all that happened.
Oh,
So yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's how it happened. So I look like I lost connection to my camera. Let's see. Trying to see if it'll pull it back. Okay, there it is. But
There
yeah,
he is.
like that's just the way it is here. So thank y'all for tuning in here to this episode here of the Fishbowl Sports Radio. Hope you have a great and wonderful day. Y'all stay dry. I know we've got a lot of severe weather coming through here. Basically the rest of the week's a wash out here. So, bring your rain jackets, umbrella if y'all got any plans outside or anything like that. So, just keep everybody being safe here and just we'll see what happens here. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you have a great, wonderful night. We'll see you here next time here on the Fishbowl Sports Radio. Have a good night, Fishbowl Nation.